This team is special. What an incredible performance yet again. And yet, it didn't feel like they necessarily had their best stuff. Still a 30-point win in Big Ten play. Michigan gets it done over USC 96-66. It's remarkable because Michigan has been able to do this seemingly time in and time out. The dominance that they've been able to show in the margins. Yet you can point to several things in this game, and the coaching staff will have Justin Joyner, Michigan assistant, key on this staff and key in this prep, joining us in a little bit. But the way that this team has been able to, just from the get-go, dominate teams. And it was a little rocky there for a stretch, middle of the first half. But when you start 11-0 and you put a team on the road in a hole like that, it's demoralizing. And Michigan put that pressure on. They continued to attack. And the defense, this defense is remarkable. The way that they're able to just suffocate teams on the interior. I mean, USC shoots 15 for 35 from 2-point land. Michigan, again, was outstanding from 2. And that's where this all comes back to. The ability for Michigan to just dominate in 2-point battles. Michigan came in number 1 offense, 2-point field goal percentage, number 1 defense, 2-point field goal percentage, and this followed the script. To win a game by 30 points when you shoot 6 of 30 from 3, you have to be the best 2-point shooting team in the country in order to get there. And that's what Michigan is, and also the best 2-point defensive team in the country. We'll have Justin Joyner stopping by in a little bit. We had Will Cheddar, who had a really good game. We'll talk about him a little bit. But Will stopped by to chat with Terry and me after the game, and here were his overall takeaways on the victory.
Man, I mean, even, when we're not playing our best, it's always a good sign when you're able to win by 30. Testament to Morez Johnson for setting that tone. That's what he does for his team. He's a workhorse. He's always going 100%. And he really set it for us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, just an incredible performance by Morez Johnson Jr. His back-to-back performances, 24 on Monday against McNeese, 29 here against USC. I would not be surprised to see Rez take home some Big Ten weekly honors for what he put out there over the last couple of ball games. He was 10 of 12 from the floor. 10 of 12 from the floor. Incredible. Michigan came in. Rez was tied for 11th nationally in field goal percentage. Yax was 37th. And Adai didn't qualify. He would have been 6th. That's the big 3 inside. It's why they're so good from 2-point range. Dusty May, a little bit more on Morez Johnson Jr. here from our radio postgame.
Well, me personally, I would grade Rez's season at an A, and the only reason it wouldn't be an A+ at this point, his efficiency scoring one-on-one hasn't been great, and part of it, he just doesn't have a lot of game reps. I thought him one-on-one in the post with them fanning out on our shooters, I thought he was patient, I thought he was poised, and he was powerful around the hoop. He's just so efficient across the board, and man, we're lucky he's on our team.
Yeah, I'll say outstanding effort from Morez Johnson Jr. in this ball game. Someone asking Craig here, any word on Yaxel's injury? Dusty did say in the postgame press conference, it's a bruised calf for Yaxel. Namari did get some stitches above his eyes. He did say that they would have been able to come back in and play in this ball game, Dusty said, but with the way the margin was, did not do that. So we'll obviously keep that going. Keep tabs on that as things go along, but definitely a good sign. We'll have a funny story about the Namari Burnett sequence, some friendly fire there after we catch up with Michigan assistant Justin Joyner following the game. JJ, what's going on, my friend?
How we doing?
Fantastic. We just heard from Will Cheddar. He joined us at the table post-game and said, hey, it's pretty impressive when you win by 30 and you didn't feel like you played a great game. Is that kind of how you would assess from a broad standpoint this performance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just look at the 3-point shooting. Like, we didn't shoot it anywhere near our capabilities, but I think that's the encouraging part of this team is we have so many different ways to win a game, and we have so many pieces that can affect winning in the positive. And we did that tonight, and it's just exciting to see how a higher ceiling can be when we play well.
And that defensive ceiling showed itself right out of the gate. USC did not score in the first 640. And frankly, I don't know if they were particularly close. Now, credit the Trojans. They kind of hung in there after that, got it to 4 or 5 a few times. But what did you like about that first 6.5 minutes or so?
Our aggression, we had a game plan going into the game where if they were going to play a particular lineup, we were going to do a certain thing. And they started that lineup. And so it gave us a chance to kind of start the game on our front foot and be aggressive and really dictate from a defensive standpoint and ignite a little bit of our transition. So, yeah, it was good. And, I think anytime you can be aggressive at the early portion of the game, it gives you a chance to, kind of catch your flow and create opportunities.
With Terry at halftime on the radio call, you mentioned this team's discipline. How have you seen this group kind of collectively grow from a discipline standpoint? There's a lot of fluidity to the lineups that this team uses. It was necessary because of Namari having to get the stitches, Yaks the bruised calf, then Roddy fouls out pretty early. But how have you seen that kind of develop in this game and really all season?
Yeah, I would start on a broader approach. Like our discipline, it goes with kind of how our guys approach this game and how hard they work and how consistent they are in their work ethic and staying ready. That's really 1 through 13. Like we have a lot of guys that are disciplined with their approach to the game. I think how it shows itself in gameplay is just understanding who you are, what you do, and how you spark for this team. And we have a lot of guys that bring different things. And again, that's the exciting piece is like we have a lot of different pieces that can kind of mesh and match and really provide different things for our team. So the other piece to discipline specifically to this game is just the ability to guard without fouling. And I think early in the game, we were really disciplined in it. They were seeking for foul calls, and we did a good job of showing our hands and being disciplined and got us some stops and got us out in transition. So a lot of different ways to look at discipline, but I think holistically our team is just disciplined with their approach to the game.
That had to have been toward the top of the scouting report, just how frequently USC tries to get to the free throw line. They came in tops nationally, free throw rate in KenPom, free throw attempts, free throw makes, all of that. And Ezra Sarr, I think he's probably going to get to the line against any team in any sequence. But outside of that, you look at the dynamic and the difference, what you guys were able to do from a free throw line standpoint. And then, their best player scoring wise, Chad Baker-Mazara, had 4 fouls in the first half. That was a critical juncture in this game. How'd you see this team make sure that it really won that free throw battle?
Yeah, I think with everything, you got to attack it with composure. Obviously our discipline was important early, but I think our composure when things went south or things went, different types of ways, we were able to keep our heads and kind of stay the course. And I think depth obviously helps us with that. There's a lot of different guys we can go to that provide different things. So, I think Chad got some tough whistles in terms of like the technical foul and or just the flagrant or whatever he had, and then he had he had 3 fouls and they played him on an offensive possession. We got the steal, and then he caught a tough foul off a bobble. So some things that happened that were out of his control maybe, but nonetheless, it certainly helped. And again, discipline was a huge part to this game, and composure was probably even a bigger part, just because games can get crazy. Games like this can get crazy.
I thought of the way you described Roddy a while back. You called him an unsung superstar. He did not get the superstar whistle on that 5th foul. That was kind of a tough break for him after, again, it's so difficult with Roddy to put into perspective what he brings because the numbers are almost never going to be gaudy.
Sure.
Just seems like he is always up there in the plus minus and around the basketball when he needs to be. How do you try to measure or communicate what Roddy's value in particular is to this team?
I think plus minus is a great way to look at it, but looking back at kind of how the season unfolded for him last year, and then coming into this year, he was such an important piece to retain because of the fact that he's gone through some bumps in the road and he's worn the Michigan jersey and kind of worked his way through it. I think he's a great player for young players to model their game after and kind of their approach to the game after. And when he's on the floor, I feel like we have another guy that is as a connector, both sides of the ball, a guy that can coexist with really good players. He can operate as a dominant force offensively. He's elite on the defensive end with his athleticism, with his instincts, and with his communication. So he's a guy that ultimately is always going to make our team better with what he brings. Now, when he scores the ball, which he can score it at a high level, he makes us even better. So his floor is really high for us because of his connectivity and his discipline and his team first mentality. And then obviously when he brings an offensive spark, it's even better.
How about Morez Johnson Jr.? 29 points, 10 of 12 from the floor, 6 boards, 2 steals, no turnovers. Mentioned plus minus. He was plus 27 because he provided a ton of punch on the defensive side. These last 2 games, has he taken that next step? And if so, how do you think he got there?
He's just an everyday guy. Like it's hard to be an everyday guy, and you forget he's such a young player still. And every day, I mean, every weight room session, every conditioning session, every practice, every scouting report, every film session, he's an everyday guy, and I think he's somebody we can always look to and understand he's going to bring it every day. And so, I think he raises the level of his teammates because of that. But he's ultimately a guy we can count on. And when the game lends itself to him being aggressive offensively, whether they're covering him one on one in the post or they're playing ball screens 2-on-2, he can have big games. And I think we saw that today. He's just a guy that we can count on, and we're blessed to have him. And I think the sky's the limit for him as he continues to develop.
You look on the interior of this team, and Yaks and Adai, they can show that toughness, and they do sometimes. Will Cheddar, he's feisty, right? He will hustle. I don't know if I'd say he's that bruiser, that bodyguard, if you will. Rez is the one guy on this team that has that, like, in the DNA, right? I mean, you can develop things, but without that embedded in him, it's a different team, right?
Yeah. He's got one speed. Like, that's what he's doing. He's coming at you. He's playing hard.
Yeah.
And if you're not, well, then you're going to get your butt kicked. Like, he's playing hard. He is competing. He raised the level of our practices. And ultimately, like, I think he kind of acts as a big brother at times for our team, because he's the guy that's going to have our back. He's the guy that's going to provide that physicality, that toughness on a possession by possession basis. And he gives us confidence on both sides of the ball because of it.
How would you assess the growth of LJ Kaysen? It just seems like the efficiency's up. There's more confidence. He had the one possession where he didn't quite know where to go offensively, kind of tiptoeing around the free throw line. But since December 1st, he's 50% from 3, feels like he's in command. Did that show up in practice before it got to games in front of the lights?
Absolutely. I think similarly to Roddy, I think we saw it last year a little bit too. Like, I think for young players going through some some adversity and some things isn't ever really a bad thing. It's just how you have to develop that way, and you have to go through it. And hopefully, if you continue to stay the course, you'll be a better player for it. And I think LJ's seeing that. And as good as LJ's been playing for us, I think there's certainly another level or two that he can go to. And it's exciting to see, because he's such a sponge. He wants to be coached hard. He seeks it. He's maturing every day. He's around a great group of guys that can help him with his development. And like I said, the sky will be the limit for him as he continues to develop and grow.
I love talking guards with you, and in particular, Elliott, another 7-assist performance in this one. But I want to ask about his shot, because that was a big question mark that people had on the outside going into this year. He wasn't a big 3-point shooter. We all could see, just watching the film over his first 2 years at Carolina, what he could provide as a passer. He's the only guy on this team who's hit a 3 in every game. He didn't do that more than 3 straight games ever in his 2 years in Chapel Hill. Where has that, is it just straight work from him? And did you guys see that in the summer and into the fall before the season started?
Yeah, I think you go back to the word discipline. He's been disciplined in his approach and his work ethic. He's very consistent in the gym and really working on his craft and trying to mimic the shots that he's going to see on a game-by-game basis. He's been really intentional with his work. I think that's a huge part of it. I think he's a better shooter than people maybe give him credit for. So I think that's also part of it. And I think the last piece is just like the empowerment, not only of his teammates, but the staff as well. Like, we believe in him as a shooter. Like, we think he's a good shooter, and we think for us to function at a high level offensively, he's got to shoot the 3. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to look for it. He's got to punish the defense for going under, being negligent in ball screen coverage. He's got to punish the defense for gapping him on the perimeter, and he's done that at a high level. And I think that's a huge part for him individually, but it's also a huge piece to us being a really good offensive team and clicking.
Where now do you as a coach go? Again, another 30-point game, but there are things to work on. It doesn't seem like it's as difficult to find in this game as maybe others. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's pretty easy, honestly. I mean, we didn't feel great about some of the things that happened throughout the course of the game. I think, the biggest thing for us as a program right now is to stay uncomfortable. Like you can't get comfortable and kind of what's happening. You can't get complacent. You have to continue to fight and grind and grow and get better because there's a ton of teams out there that are flatlining right now that understand that their season's probably over and March isn't in the cards for them. For us, we have greatness ahead of us if we continue to grow and get better and stay uncomfortable in this process because it's a beautiful process. But you're not going to get what you want ultimately if you don't fight and grind and stay uncomfortable in it.
I take it after this, are you going to start watching Michigan State, Nebraska, or do you got another game on the docket, or is it film?
I got my phone next to me right now, and I have Gonzaga, Seattle U on the tube, and then downstairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Seattle's up 4.
Yeah, and then downstairs we got the Michigan State, Nebraska. So I'm gonna watch some West Coast. I'm gonna watch some Big Ten, and I'm gonna watch some opponents we'll be playing here soon. So just my background music's always college ball. It's the best time of the year.
Love it. Last thing I see in the background, the first game certificate from Wesley. Was that this past game or would it have been LaSalle?
It was last year. Iowa game. Yeah, the Iowa game last year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's her first game.
Awesome.
Pretty big time.
How old was she at that point?
Would have been 1.5. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
because the family was just in for the holidays for a little bit, right?
Yeah, they were here for about 7 days leading up to the would have been LaSalle game, and then we flew back to the Bay Area, spent Christmas, the leading up to Christmas with her family and my mother, and then flew back here, and then actually flew back west to recruit for a day. But yeah, just been on the move. And listen, there's nothing better than being with your team this time of year. There's nothing more important than trying to max out this journey and play great ball and continue to get better and chase greatness with the squad.
It's easy to sense, and I know everybody on the staff does, and I think it's added to the urgency because there's a real chance here, but I know there's a lot of work between now and then. So Justin, I appreciate you carving out 10 minutes for us, and keep grinding, man. We'll see you for Penn State coming up on Tuesday.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Brian, as always.
Great stuff from Justin Joyner. Always enjoy his insight and thoughts on a Wolverines victory, 96-66 over USC. We'll take a few comments and questions and thoughts as we wrap things up here because, I kind of want to go watch some of those games too. But I did want to share the clip from Damari. Got a chance to catch up with him after the game, and he broke down and shared exactly who was at fault for that little the little cut that needed some stitches for Damari.
Yeah, man. Just took a hit, and it's crazy because after the hit, Roddy told me it was him on accident. And a quick funny story, we were doing a drill in practice about a few months ago, and I accidentally elbowed Roddy in the eye, and so we got same stitches in the same spot in the eye, so twins.
Twins. I knew it was okay because Damari looked over at some of the friends and family that he had at the game and seemed to be all right. Obviously, we'll see. Never know how things can develop and evolve in practice heading into a road trip to Penn State. But definitely good to see that he was able to take it in stride. Never an ideal circumstance there. The other aspect that was really, really cool, fun sequence. Of course, if you're at the game, you heard from the new head football coach, Kyle Whittingham, asked Dusty May on the radio post-game interview about what he knows about him. And the fact that the first thing Coach Whittingham said was, how about Dusty May and this Michigan men's basketball team? Here's Dusty on Coach Whittingham.
Yeah, I actually have several friends that played at Utah, that coached at Utah, and they've all sang his praises as far as who he is as a person, how he runs a program, and I'm excited to learn from him and work with him. And that's one thing when you're at a place like this with the elite coaches we have around us, with KBA and Brandon and across the board, we have a real opportunity to learn from people that are just a few hundred yards away.
We're very thankful to get a chance to learn from Dusty May and watch this team, which now stands at 13-0, came in as one of 6 unbeatens. I could not believe this stat, which did not get added to, but Jared Burson had it on social media. There are only 3 teams this century with 6 or more wins by 40-plus points against Division I opponents. 8 of them by Duke in the 01-02 season, 7 by Gonzaga in the 18-19 season. That was not the year that they went undefeated till the national championship. They didn't get to the Final Four that year. And then Michigan. this year. And it's the first time that a team had 6 of them like Michigan before the turn of the calendar since the Oklahoma Sooners in 1988. That's how dominant it has been. And the other aspect I just keep turning to, Michigan is now plus 89 in 3 Big Ten games. Michigan was plus 79 just in the wins last year. Remember the storyline, the 2 big storylines coming into, and even at the beginning stages of this season, were turnovers and then close wins. Remember, Dusty May, as the head coach of Michigan, is 15-4 in games decided by 4 points or less. There will be a game where it's going to be close. It's going to happen. Will it be Tuesday at Penn State? I don't think many will think that, but hey, stranger things have happened. John Beilein got ejected at Penn State once. Weird stuff happens in Happy Valley. But those storylines have gone away because, as Justin Joyner talked about, stay uncomfortable, lock into the process, embrace the opportunity that this team has in front of them. It's just remarkable. Thanks to those who are watching live. Thanks to Craig. Yes, thanks. Now go watch the other games. We will do that here momentarily. Michael, Dusty, and Witt taking us there, no doubt. Tommy, Hale, T. Wonder, Go Blue, Pure Domination. It's fun. It is incredibly fun what this team is doing, how they are accomplishing it. And we look forward to continuing the ride. We will be back after hopefully another win on Saturday. Next Saturday against Wisconsin. That's either a 1 or 2 o'clock tip-off. Not a big difference, but that's depending on the NFL playoff schedule and kind of how games get divvied up. I don't know what will create a 1 o'clock and what will create a 2 o'clock. Doesn't matter. This team's appointment television and appointment radio and appointment YouTube post-game stream. They're 13-0, one of just a handful unbeaten left in college basketball. And as you heard from Justin Joyner, they are led by some incredible coaches who have put them in position. It takes great players, takes great coaches. But yeah, you can drink the Kool-Aid. You can believe in this team to the nth degree because they're the best team in the country right now. Does that mean anything come March and April? It means something, but it doesn't guarantee anything. But this is the best team in the country, and we'll see what they can do here in the 2026 portion because this is cool. 13 wins. It's a great start. There will be fans who remember what has happened to this point for a while. Deservedly so. This is a historic run. But we're to the 26 portion of the 25-26 season. That's when this really gets to be revved up. That's when we really find out if this team will be remembered or immortalized. Another step toward it here tonight. Thanks to Coach Joyner for joining us. Thanks to the Stoller family and all that they do. Hey, a happy birthday to one of our associate producers on the show, Austin Stoller, celebrating a birthday. He went bowling today. My man, great job from him. Thanks to him and Josh. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll talk to you Tuesday night on the radio. Michigan at Penn State. Wolverines trying to get to 14-0. Enjoy the other games tonight and go blue.